This instructional video is going to show you how to change your factory wheel into a Grant aftermarket steering wheel. We're going to start off here with this GM prop column. So basically you have your factory wheel here. Some horn buttons is a cap like this one here. Other ones have a horn pad that run across that have screws coming from the back side. Once you remove that, or like this cap here, you have your horn wire. You need to remove the horn wire from the system here. Either unplug it or you're able to pull out the unit like this. Now this one here has a spring wire and a locking sleeve. Okay? Put that to the side there. Then of course you'd remove the center nut and the steering wheel. Everybody's familiar with this pretty much. I would assume once you remove your steering wheel, you'll see a lock plate here. This lock plate is basically when you turn your key back in position, your steering wheel locks with this pin here in these grooves depending on what location your steering wheel is in. You really don't have to go any further than this. You can start off, this would be your starting point here to install your Grant wheel. Now the installation kit we're going to use is a part number 3196, which covers GM cars from 1969 to 94 non-telescopic columns. Also GM trucks from 1974 to 94. And it also covers pretty much about 90% of all aftermarket columns which use a 36 spline, 3/4 tapered GM top end on the aftermarket columns. So with your 3196 install kit, you're going to get your hub, you're going to get your horn contact, you're going to get your shoulder bolts, you're going to get your wire and locking sleeve and spring. Some kits have or do not have the sleeve here. It mentions it in the installation kit instruction sheet, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Normally that sleeve was made to prevent the column bearing from getting loose, but this is pretty much a very good setup here to where you wouldn't have any problems like that. I like to start off with the horn wire. The factory wire has a little different setup. You have your wire, then your spring, and then your locking sleeve. It's all hooked up this way. Well, Grant just does it a little bit different. You have your spring that falls in between, inside of the sleeve here, the horn contact, and then your sleeve is basically the wires fed through the sleeve, and it sits here on this bell-shaped end. The bell-shaped end will fall inside of the spring here. I'm sorry, you'll notice the two little tabs at the ends of the sleeve which lock into little L shape that's cut out here on your horn contact. So you'd slip that bell-shaped end right into the spring, and then you'll slip the locking tab onto the sleeve and it'll just lock itself right in place. If you want a close-up look of that, basically you'll see here is you have your a little notch cut out here and your on the turn signal canceling cam, which is also your horn contact, and the sleeve will lock right inside of there. For example, the original will slip right into this groove here and it'll push down and twist and it'll lock itself right in place. Okay? Now that you have your wire set up, you'll notice your hub has a little notch cut out into it right here underneath this one screw right next to the word top A. Okay, this is going to allow you back in step 10, I believe. It tells you to reroute reroute your wire so that way you can go ahead and get everything aligned correctly. So you notice here that your horn contact is sitting in the 10 o'clock position. So you're going to use the hole that's off to the left side here, and you're going to continue to use this top A as your 12 o'clock indicator here. So you're going to feed the wire through there. You see top A here, and you're going to sit that right inside of there. So now you have your horn wire here. So that groove there on step 10, it tells you to reroute your wire from the 10 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position, because that's the way everything else is set up. It's set up for the wire to come out through the 2 o'clock side. So all I did was pinch that wire right inside that groove there, and now your wire is basically on this side, which is considered the 2 o'clock side. Okay? So the next step here is your post cover. Your post cover has the center shaft hole, 3 mounting holes, and your wire hole. Since this is here on the right side now, you're going to feed that through there, and that wire is now what we call the 2 o'clock position. From this point here, all we use is the hub, the wire, and the spring, and your post cover. From this point you can choose any steering wheel you like practically from Grant, other than the 6-bolt pattern, Corvette direct replacement, or GM muscle car. Pretty much those are the only ones you really can't put on here because of the 6-bolt pattern. But every other wheel, whether it's the Grant Classic style wheel with the 3-bolt pattern, or you have your 5-bolt pattern wheel also that comes with a GT adapter. This comes directly mounted right on the back of the wheel when you get it fresh out right off the box. I'll show you how to install this also. So from this point here, we're going to go ahead and use the Classic wheel. Once again, the Classic wheel has your 3-bolt pattern and also has your horn wire here on the right side, which is considered the 2 o'clock position. What you're going to do is you're going to sit your wheel on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the shaft nut here just to hold everything together. Just like that. Now we have the horn contact and the shoulder bolts. Now these shoulder bolts, they only have thread going on maybe about halfway, a little more than halfway, and then it's just a sleeve. And that sleeve is made so the horn contact slides up and down that shoulder. Alright? So now that we have this horn contact, you notice that there's 2 little slots here. And those slots are made so it doesn't pinch the wire or interfere with the wire during installation or things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get these mounted, and we'll be right back. Now that we have the 3 bolts here set up holding on the horn contact, you'll notice that this feels kind of loose here. Well, it's supposed to be that way because it rides up and down the shoulders, so don't worry about it feeling that way. Now basically what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hook up the horn wire to the horn contact. And right now, if you didn't disconnect your battery or didn't disconnect your horn's going to be going off because the contact is already touching the steering wheel, which is grounded by the bolts. So basically what you do is you'll set that up there, and now you have your horn button. If you notice the 3 little notches that are cut out here in this triangular form on the horn contact, you'll also see the same dimples here on the back of the cap. Now these are made to sit in each other, and you twist the cap to lock in place. But basically what you need now is you need your spring so you can have the spring action on your horn contact. Sometimes it doesn't sit in there by itself, or you're trying to fit it on there, there's not enough space. So basically what I like to do is I like to use a double-sided tape to where I could just put it on there and it'll hold itself in place. Now we're going to go ahead and line up the 3 dimples here with the 3 notches, and you're going to push all the way down on the cap, and you're going to twist. Now your horn button is set. You have that spring-loaded action, and your wire's hooked up, and your horn should honk fine. This is the way you hook up your Classic or Challenger Series style 3-bolt pattern mount onto a 3196 install kit. If you want to stick around, I'm going to go ahead and remove this wheel, and I'm going to show you how to hook up the Signature Series, which is your 5-bolt pattern. Stick around. So now we're basically back at this point where we've installed the hub, the horn wire, and your post cover. Remember, the horn wire comes out of the 2 o'clock side here. So now with the Signature Series style steering wheel, this GT adapter is the 2-inch type. We also have a 1-inch type. But on this one here, you would remove it from the wheel by removing the 5 screws and take this part out separately. If you notice here on the inside it says top A, and it has the oval hole here for your horn wire. So you would put your horn wire through there, line up your bolt holes here, and assemble the 3 screws. Once you have assembled the unit with the 3 screws, don't forget to replace your shaft nut. Now these do have torque specs. I don't think I mentioned in the previous Classic series, but the shaft nut is 25 to 30 foot-pounds, and each of the small nuts bolts here are 10 to 12 foot-pounds. So now this is assembled, you're going to torque those down. Go ahead and put your styling sleeve boot back on the unit there. Give it a nice clean look. Along with your Signature Series wheel, you also have your horn button retainer. Now this retainer is going to get sandwiched here between the wheel and the adapter in order to give the proper size for your horn button. Now if you don't see this, it's because you may have received the new style adapter here that already comes with this assembled to it, made as one piece. Okay, so this would more than likely will not be used any longer. We're going to go ahead and get our wheel. We're going to put this on here, put our wheel here, and we'll go ahead and mount these screws. We'll get this mounted up and we'll be right back. Now that we got the 5 bolts mounted here on the wheel, you'll notice the horn button retainer ring is right on the inside there, and you have your single horn wire, of course. Now on the back of the horn button you see 2 terminals. Well, this is used for the dual horn contact for Fords, or the single horn contact for GM, Chrysler, and some Fords. You would use the center terminal on a single horn wire system because you have your outer ground strap here that gets grounded right on the wheel. Now just to let you know, you'll see in your instructions, if you're using a dual style horn wire kit, then you will connect one wire to each terminal, and you need to remove this hard wire, this ground strap. I believe it tells you to pull it out about 1/4 inch, snip it at both ends, and lose that piece. Hook up your 2 horn wires and you'll be able to honk your horn that way. This one here, you use your center terminal. It'll get a ground right from this outer edge brass wire here. And basically what you do is you hook up the horn wire just like so, and you pop this right in place, and you're good to go. that's the way you hook up your signature series style steering wheel. And I hope you learned something on the video, and I hope it makes things a lot easier for you. Enjoy.